Hello and welcome to my latest video. My name is Jenny. I'm a tropical Western astrologer, and today we're going to talk about the full moon in Capricorn happening on July the 10th, just 3 days after Uranus went into Gemini. So, if you would like to know all about Uranus going into Gemini, please do listen to my podcast. It's called Demystifying Divinity. And I co-host with the wonderful Joanna the Healer. She's a big time YouTuber. I'm sure you're already following her on YouTube, but follow us. Listen to the breakdown that we did on Uranus going into Gemini. It's going to air on July the 8th, so the day after it ingresses into Gemini. We do a deep dive on what is the energy of Uranus going into Gemini, because this is like it's crazy. It feels crazy. People feel like they're going crazy. And then on July 1st, on Demystifying Divinity, we went through an all signs forecast. So all the way from Aries to Pisces, we did all 12 zodiac signs, and we took a look at what's the energy of July, because this is it. This is it. Sorry, I'm yelling now. This is the one that us astrologers have been going, oh dear, look at this. Look at this is happening. This is going to happen. Uranus is going into Gemini on July the 7th. And then this full moon is just 3 days after Uranus going into Gemini. So please do go over to Demystifying Divinity. You'll hear us doing a deep dive into that. And what I will say right here and now is that I'm filming this on the 4th of July. Happy 4th for those of you that celebrate. I'm up in Canada, so we celebrate on July 1st. And so I'm filming this just before Uranus goes into Gemini and before this full moon. And we're all feeling, I went back to the gym today. I took a week off. I was in vacation land. And all my friends at the gym were like, oh my, what is going on? I feel like I'm going crazy. My husband's going crazy. Everyone's depressed. I'm like, I know. I know. And this is what we have been looking at as astrologers. We've been looking at the charts and we've been going, oh, this is happening. And so what I will say is that it's the end of a 7-year cycle. It's the end of a 7-year cycle. Uranus being in Taurus, wherever Taurus falls in your natal birth chart, it's the end degree. It's the anaretic degree. It's the final thing. It's like, this is the boiling point. This is the culmination point. It feels like it's gonna burst, right? And so for those that felt it since it started, I guess it was 2018, May of 2018, when Uranus first went into Taurus. And we felt it at the beginning degrees, at the beginning stages. And then it was a 7-year, and then that was at the end of a 7-year cycle. As of right now, as when I'm filming, this is why people feel like they're losing their minds. This is people feel like they're so depressed. And what I will say is that whatever Uranus was trying to teach you going through going through Taurus, whatever Uranus, because Uranus shakes up and surprises and shocks, always seeking to liberate you, always seeking to liberate you. That's what Uranus does, but it is shocking. And so for those people out there that knew it and they felt it for the last 7 years, and they knew they needed to make some big decisions, and they knew they needed to make the big changes, and maybe they didn't, and maybe they didn't. And now we're at the end degree. We're at the final point. We're at the culmination. And it's like, oh, maybe I didn't make that decision. Maybe I didn't do that thing. Maybe I'm in this job that I hate. Maybe I didn't say the thing to the friend that's been bothering me for years. Maybe I didn't bring it up with my husband, and now it's like, what? So that's extreme examples, right? So that's extreme examples, but some people are feeling it, that they didn't do the thing. They didn't answer the call. People are feeling this right now in a big way, right? Because Uranus was seeking to liberate us in the Taurus house placement of our charts. Uranus doesn't fart around. There's no farting around with Uranus. And do you love my Mercury made me do it shirt? Let's blame Mercury. It's not Mercury's fault this time. It's not. Is it Uranus's fault? I'm going to get more into your thinking. Why are you talking about this? This is a full moon forecast. And I'm just trying to set the stage for what this full moon's going to feel like 3 days after Uranus moves into Gemini. Hold on for those of you that are listening to this, and you're feeling it, and you might be feeling like you're losing your mind. You might feel like extreme depression. Hold on, hold on. Uranus going into Gemini is whole new earth and world and new era and new paradigm, and it's paradigm shifting. Hold on. So it's going to go one of two ways. So if you're feeling this and it's not feeling great and you're feeling like you're losing your mind, and then Uranus moves into Gemini, and then it's like, okay, yeah, it's going to feel like that for some people. It's going to be like, oh no, I understand this energy way better. Okay, yep, didn't do the thing, whatever. Okay, now I'm going to step into this new era in a whole new, I'm going to show up in a whole new way because I learned from that and it didn't feel good and I know what I need to do and I'm going to go to the for other people, it's going to be like, it's going to be a mental health crisis. And this is what I've been saying in Demystifying Divinity in the podcast. This is what I've been saying on my Instagram reels. This is what I've been saying on these videos. Um, for a lot of people, Uranus going into Gemini is going to be a mental health crisis. It doesn't have to be you. It doesn't have to be your loved ones. But by all means, if you're feeling this after the 7th and onward, as we go in, as we step in, as we are ushered in to this new era energy from July 7th and onward, if you're feeling like, oh, okay, I need help, please do go get help. Okay. And if your loved ones are not doing well, July 7th and onward, please do get them help. Please do get them help. I have been watching the charts and studying them and seeing this because I keep talking about it. There are 5 outer planets. 4 of them are moving into new signs in this year alone. It's unprecedented. We've never seen this before. If it's happened in the history of the world, maybe it has. It's just not documented. It's not documented. So it's like this happening in 2025. 2025 equals 9. 9 in numerology says it's the end. So I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm saying it's the end of the world as you knew it. And that REM song, It's the End of the World as I Know It and I Feel Fine, has been going over and over in my mind because we will be fine. I promise you, you will be fine. If you need to get the help, go get the help. If your loved ones need to get help, get them help. Because this is not farting around, like I said. There is no farting around with Uranus. It never is. Wherever Uranus is, does not fart around. You could quote me on that. Uranus is shocking. Uranus is earthquake energy. Yes, in the world, on Mother Gaia, earthquakes, tsunamis. Yes. Yes, Uranus does activate worldwide catastrophic events, yes, but also earthquakes in yourself, earthquakes that you were trying to suppress and trying not to look at, or maybe you even never even noticed the earthquakes that were boiling. The earthquakes happen. The earthquakes can happen. The earthquakes can happen. So do watch your loved ones. Do know that I've been trying to warn you, and it's nervous laughter coming out of me because these 4 outer planets that are changing signs this year, this is the one. This is the fourth. This is the 4th one changing signs this year, and it's happening now. And us astrologers have been seeing this, seeing the charts going, oh yeah, something's going to happen in July. Oh yeah, July and onward. This is new Earth. This is new era. This is new paradigm. And so are you ready? And have you been doing the work? And have you been doing the shadow work? And have you been practicing your spiritual morning rituals, whatever it is? Have you been doing the meditations? Have you been getting grounded? Because we've been urging you to. The planets have been urging us to do so. And now it's happening. So we're in it. And this is it. And then we have a full moon on July the 10th, 3 days after Uranus goes into Gemini. and it's at 18 degrees Capricorn. And I couldn't help but notice that back in 2020, we had that great conjunction of Saturn and Pluto at 22 degrees of Capricorn. Do you remember that one? It happened on January the 12th, 2020. A few weeks later, remember what happened in the world in 2020? Do you remember that? I'm sure you do. Us astrologers were looking at this Saturn-Pluto conjunction at 22 degrees on January 12th, 2020, going, holy macaronis. That's a big one. And what's going to happen in this world, right? What's going to happen? No, I didn't predict what happened. And it happened, and the world shut down. And we all remember, if you're watching this video, you were there. You saw what happened in the world. Saturn and Pluto came together. So this full moon is at 18 degrees Capricorn. So it's conjunct that point. And I do feel, I couldn't help but notice that when I was studying and researching this full moon that's happening on July 10th. And I just feel like it's highlighting that time. And I feel like I was talking about it with Joanna on Demystifying Divinity. What happened there in 2020 was gentle compared to what's happening now. And I feel like at 18 degrees, it's at 18 degrees this time. So very close to 22 degrees. It's a very tight conjunction to where that Saturn-Pluto conjunction was in 2020. But at 18 degrees, the late great astrologer Nikola Stoyanovich taught us astrologers and taught the world that the 18 degree mark is a very difficult degree. And so if you have that natally, I have it several times in my birth chart. The 18 degree mark is a difficult degree. It shows difficult challenges. And it's on this full moon in Capricorn. First of all, the moon does not like to be in Capricorn at all. And if you have a natal Capricorn moon, you know what I'm talking about. It's that, does daddy love me? Does mommy love me? Mommy doesn't love me. Daddy loves me. Do I get love from daddy? Or does my mommy give me love? But it's more of a masculine kind of love. I got to toughen up. Having a natal Capricorn moon feels like that. You don't know where you're getting your love from. Often you have a difficult relationship with your mother. That's an indicator, or it's like a cold love. Like, when you have that natally in your chart, it's like you don't receive the overflowing of nurturing, and then you don't know how to nurture yourself. So first of all, the moon is in Capricorn. So it's that cold, closed-hearted feeling. And then it's at 18 degrees, and 18 degrees is a very difficult degree. And then it's conjunct this great conjunction we had in 2020. And then weeks later, the world shut down. We know what happened, right? And again, Uranus just moved into Gemini on the 7th, 3 days before this lunation. This is new Earth energy. The way that I'm able to read this chart and able to digest what this is saying to us. This is the new Earth energy. It's being brought to us by the grand light in the sky on the night of the 10th, right? July the 10th. The full moon will be illuminating what we normally cannot see. Every full moon does that for us. This full moon is illuminating for us maybe the shadows we were not willing to look at, especially over the last 7 years. Whatever Uranus was trying to teach us in the Taurus house placement of our lives. It's illuminating the tough stuff, the challenges that maybe we didn't quite see, or for those of us that are obsessed with shadow work, even write a book about shadow work. I've got my shadow work book here. Here's the shadow work book that I wrote, and it gets great reviews from people. It's available on Amazon for those of us that are obsessed with doing shadow work. Maybe it will illuminate how far we've come, because a full moon always does that. You look back, any full moon, you look back 6 months ago, when you were writing your intentions in your moon journals. This is my other great, another one of my journals available on Amazon. And you write at the new moon in Capricorn, 6 months prior, and you write out the intentions and you look at the house placement of wherever the moon falls. This one happens to be Capricorn, so you would look at the house placement of Capricorn. That indicates the area of life that you can set the intention for. So that in 6 months' time, when La Luna is illuminating so brightly in that dark sky, illuminating all the things that have or have not come to harvest since planting those intentions, those seeds of intentions. And that's how new moons and full moons work, right? So yes, we can look back 6 months ago to our moon journals and see where we set our intentions. Yes, we can do that. But also we can even take this one back to 2020. What were the lessons? I mean, this is a great conversation piece at any dinner party. You're meeting up with friends, and it's like, what did you learn from that thing that happened in 2020? Did your relationships strengthen? Did they break up? How do you look at the world now? I mean, it was there to teach us huge lessons for those of us that were willing to embrace the lessons, right? And I feel like this full moon has the exact same vibe, but like on steroids, because it's right there at the same point at that as that conjunction in 2020. Yet it's at the 18-degree mark, which it shows challenges and it shows difficulty, right? So it's like, are we are we willing to take radical responsibility for ourselves and stop the blame game? The pointing of the blame. It's you, it's your fault. So when you look back, when you're pointing your finger, you look back and there's always three fingers pointing back at yourself. So the blame game can no longer work. You got three fingers pointing back at yourself. It's time to take radical responsibility for how you co-created this particular situation that you find yourself in, right? If you find yourself blaming others, sharing your victim story, gossiping about others, spreading hate about others at this time in history, if you find yourself still doing that, it's time to stop. And it's time to take radical responsibility for yourself because you got yourself here. If you're not happy with your circumstances, if you're not happy with your life, it's time to take radical responsibility for that and make some big decisions because the cosmos have been urging us strongly since this 2020 conjunction that is so close to this full moon in Capricorn because it was 22 degrees Capricorn that the Saturn and Pluto came together. And now this full moon is 18 degrees Capricorn. So it's conjunct where it was. And those two, Saturn and Pluto together, we knew that was going to do something big. And it did. And so now 5 years later, we have this full moon at this very difficult degree, very close to that conjunction. And it's asking all of us to take radical responsibility. If you're still telling even one victim story, if you're still telling victim stories, the victim stories have to go. If you're blaming anyone or anything, that's got to go. It's full on radical responsibility time. So you might be thinking I sound like extremely harsh. You might be thinking I have no compassion, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I have a counseling background. I've been a counselor for years. I know the trauma that people have been going through, and I know that what what happened in the world in 2020 brought so much trauma for so many people. It also brought us new perspectives to reanalyze, to relook, to dig for those silver linings, even if those silver linings were hidden and buried. We've had 5 years now to find what the lessons were from the world shutting down after that conjunction. And so now this full moon is on that almost same spot. And it's a difficult difficult degree. And so, how do we handle difficult circumstances? How do we handle difficult people? How do we handle difficult conversations? How do we handle difficult decisions? Now is the time for us to master all that. We've had the time, we've had the nudges from the universe to take radical responsibility and get good at these difficult things we've been avoiding our whole lives, especially over the last 5 years. This is new earth, this is new paradigm, this is a new shift for all of us. And I cannot help but know that Uranus moving into Gemini is all in this same, it's all together. It's within days of this full moon illuminating what the lessons from 5 years ago, the silver linings, the paradigm shifts. I mean, I was a completely different person back then. That was 5 years ago. And I made very, very difficult decisions and I've completely changed my life. And that was just 5 years ago. And I was like deep into astrology and I was deep on the spiritual path. So I would love to hear from you and hear your stories as well. And I want to know how this full moon and this difficult, the moon head does not like being in Capricorn. And the 18-degree mark is very difficult. I'm shivering because it doesn't like any of this. It doesn't feel good. This is not a feel good full moon, right? And so how are you? How are your loved ones? Are you embracing all these changes and are you able to move through these shadows and these difficult times in a much different way than even 5 years ago? Are you able to have that paradigm shift and just go, this is all part of it. This is all part of the soul's growth and knowing that I can do this. And I'm urging you strongly to hold on. If you're having a very difficult time, I'm urging you strongly to hold on. This is very difficult. These are very difficult transits that we're having all of 2025. I keep talking about it on Demystifying Divinity. Go and back and listen because Joanna channels messages as well. Like we work really well together, Joanna and I, because I'm giving you what the charts are saying and I can see it like a neon light. Like we've got to get on this new earth path and we've got to be like this. We've got to go with the flow. We've got to like Esther Hicks says go down flow, like get on the floaty in the river and just go with the flow of the river. Don't go upstream. You don't go upstream. And going upstream also means like la la la, not listening, not looking. It also means that it's not just like fighting and it's not just like I'm gonna keep going at this job that I hate. It's also just like pretending, oh no, I love this job. I'm not looking. Like that's got to end, all that stuff. And the fighting and the blaming and the shaming and the pointing fingers and the it's your fault and not taking responsibility for yourself. All that's ending. Like that's the old world that conjunction, that Saturn and Pluto coming together at 22 degrees Capricorn 5 years ago at 2020. That was the beginning of like, okay, we're going in a new direction. And then now in 2025, with these four outer planets changing, it's like that. It's like on steroids. It's like we've got to get our poop in a group and we're feeling it. So, what is this full moon illuminating for you? Let's go through a 12 signs, all 12 signs forecast just to see. Listen for your sun, moon, rising. I like when you're listening for your rising, it's like the area of life. But when you listen for your sun, it's like your soul's message. So I always listen for my rising first, just, oh yeah, that is happening in that particular area of my life. But then if you listen for your sun, it's like, oh, I felt that one. And then your moon is more of an internal, like I do listen for the moon as well. So I encourage you to listen to sun, moon, and rising. Um, First and foremost, your rising sign, just so you know what is being impacted in your life, right? So let's go through it. I'm just going to go through my notes because I wrote a lot of notes for this particular lunation because this is a big one. And I did write here, like, are you awake yet? That sounds rude, right? Like that sounds rude for me to say to you. Are you awake yet? Have you got the memo? Did you get the memo yet? Again, that sounds very rude for me to say, but that's what this full moon is like yelling. Did you wake up? Did you stop blaming everyone? Did you take some responsibility, like all responsibility for yourself? Did you or not? I also wrote here before I get into the all signs forecast that Mars and the North Node will be joining together at the end of July, and then it's going to be squaring Venus in Gemini, and Uranus just went into Gemini. So at the end of the month, watch your words. Like it might be really boiling, and you're still thinking, no, no, I'm doing all the work. I'm doing all the spiritual work. And then the end of July, we're going to get a real. All of us are going to get a real like. Are we getting angry here still? Like, are you seriously blaming others? Are you seriously going to take it out on those that you love the most, or even like a stranger at the grocery store? Because that's a difficult one at the end of July too. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go through an all signs forecast of this full moon, 18 degrees Capricorn on July the 10th. I got all my notes here. I wanted to make sure I got it all out, but I'm sure you're hearing me pretty loud and clear on this one. So, Capricorn rising, first house, Capricorns. So Capricorn, you had Pluto going through your, finally got out. Now it's Pluto's in Aquarius to stay, right? Like finally, and all the Capricorns out there, like, I'm always like, are you okay? Like, there's this one friend that I have, and she's a Capricorn, and she's a new friend. So I asked her, like, within within the first couple weeks of knowing her and knowing she's a Capricorn, I'm like, how was the last few years? And she's like, oh my God, I had a cancer diagnosis. I'm like, yeah. So, she went through it. Capricorns, in your first house, this Saturn and Pluto conjunction happened in your first house in 2020. You know it. Pluto was there, but then Saturn was also there. And so Capricorns, check in with yourself, okay? Because the full moon is bright in the sky, illuminating all the things we normally can't see. Capricorns, are you okay? Capricorns, are you blaming others still? Capricorns, are you in a job that you love? I hope and pray you are. I hope and pray because Capricorns are the great workers. You have amazing work ethic, right? And so what is La Luna illuminating for you? Did you listen to the cosmos? Did you feel the cosmos shifting you since 2020? And then maybe you completely quit your job and now you're in like a dream job or you're retired or something. You're much better. Like, are you feeling much better about your career, Capricorn? Because you are the career, like you rule the career house in astrology. Like you are the greatest workers. You are the goats. So I pray, Capricorn rising people, you're feeling great about your career, your public status. But since this is illuminating in your first house, you can make any kind of change when it comes to your first house. It could be your body. Maybe you've lost a whole bunch of weight, and La Luna is illuminating that for you. But a full moon is always the culmination point. It's the end, right? And so it needs to end. If you're not feeling like the goat that you are, end it. Close the door, Capricorn. Okay, La Luna is up there illuminating for you all areas of your life. I venture to say your career because you are a Capricorn, but first house can illuminate all your entire life. And so, yes, look back 6 months ago when you were writing intentions in your moon your moon manifesting journal. Yeah, definitely look back 6 months ago and see if the harvest is there 6 months later. But also take a deeper look from that 2020 conjunction. Has your life completely changed since then? Are you happy where you are? Are you feeling like the goat that you are, Capricorn? Let us know. This might not be a great feeling lunation for you. Please do let us know. Aquarius, 12th house. Aquarius, 12th house. Okay. This is the end of the zodiac. The 12th house is the end of the zodiac, Aquarius. So how are you feeling? Are you letting it go? Has La Luna's up there illuminating in the dark sky so brightly, all the things we normally can't see. Maybe we're not willing to look at them. Maybe we just didn't know that they were there. So when it comes to 12th house, addictions, It's letting go, like the bitterness, that bitter thing. Have you let it go? Have you stopped doing the addictions? Whatever, addictions come in many forms, from sugar to Netflix to booze, and we know it, right? And all the other things too. So 12th house is the ending and addictions, and it's it's have you found forgiveness for others and for yourself? It's all that stuff. La Luna is up there illuminating what we normally can't see when it's a full moon. This is a difficult feeling moon because it's in Capricorn, but also because it's 18 degrees. And I feel like it's really bringing up a lot of stuff from that 2020 Saturn and Pluto conjunction. So for you, have you come such a long way since 5 years ago? What's La Luna illuminating for you? What is harvested in your life? Or what is it that you need to stop? Like you need to let that go. You do need to forgive. You do need to stop that addicting thing. You need to close a door, perhaps. Or is La Luna illuminating for you how far you've come and what has manifested since 5 years ago? I venture to say. Pisces 11th house. Pisces 11th house. So I feel like this full moon is hitting that Saturn-Pluto conjunction from 5 years ago, and so I feel like this is a very deep and perhaps not a good feeling full moon for all of us. And for you, Pisces, it's 11th house stuff. So it's like friendships, groups, it's the future, it's your future self, it's technology, it's where you want to be, it's your greatest hopes, wishes, and dreams. So have you come a really long way since 2020? That's 5 years ago. La Luna is up there illuminating what has or has not harvested in your life. Sure, from 6 months ago when you were writing in your moon journal, sure. But I feel like this moon is even deeper, and this is going back 5 years' time when the world shut down. And I just feel, have you come such a long way? And are you in, your future self? Are you in the avatar of your future self? Are you where you want to be? Because that's 11th house. That's like the greatest good for all. 11th house is your future self. Are you there? Are you there, Pisces? Is this where you want to be emotionally, spiritually, physically? Do you have the friends around you? Because 11th house is your friends and your groups. Are you in a community? Do you feel like you have a community? Maybe you've moved since 2020 and you live in a wonderful community and everyone helps everyone. There's a cook and there's a cleaner, and maybe you're living in that like dream utopia community. Um, have you um, have you learned how to do all things online and you've got groups online and you have support and maybe you've created courses online? Pisces, look at it, where you wanted to be from 2020 because the world shut down. There was that Saturn-Pluto conjunction at 22 degrees. And now this full moon's at 18 degrees and that's not an easy degree, and the moon doesn't like being in Capricorn. So give yourself an honest look. Are you still having the blame game? Are you still playing the blame game? Are you still blaming others? Are you still telling the victim stories? Or are you living your future self? You got to ask yourself that, Pisces. Aries 10th house. Aries 10th house. Career. Are you doing your dream career, Aries? Is this what you want to do? This is, you've got to ask yourself because yes, this moon goes back to the 6 months ago when you were writing in your new moon journal and writing out your intentions 6 months ago in Capricorn. Yeah, sure. But this moon's even deeper. This is hitting that Saturn-Pluto conjunction that happened at 22 degrees Capricorn in 2020, 5 years ago. And then the world shut down. Right after that Saturn-Pluto conjunction, the world shut down just weeks later. And it was there to teach us something. So now, 5 years later, we're having a full moon on a difficult degree, doesn't like being in Capricorn, and it's in your 10th house. Did you listen to the urges from the planets, the poetry of the planets, the nudges from the universe? Did you, Aries? And now you're seen as you want to be seen, and you're in a career that you love. Maybe it has to do with your dad too. Maybe, you're talking to your dad now. You were estranged from your dad. And if he's dearly departed, maybe you've connected with him in spirit, or maybe you became a father, right? Something to do with fatherhood, something to do with your career and your public reputation. Are you there, Aries? Because La Luna's up there illuminating, and you might not want to see it, but you're going to see it. You're going to be able to see it now. All those things in the dark that maybe you were unwilling to see, or maybe you felt those urges since 2020. You made big decisions. You made a lot of changes in your career, public status, and stuff to do with fatherhood. Taurus ninth house. Taurus ninth house. Oh, I love it. Okay, so Taurus. Yes, we're looking back 6 months ago when we were writing in our moon journal for our moon intentions. Sure, we're looking back 6 months ago, but really, we're looking back 5 years ago at January 12th, 2020. There was a Saturn and Pluto conjunction at 22 degrees. So this is hitting very closely to this 18-degree Capricorn full moon. And so for you, Taurus, this is about ninth house. Did you write the book? Is the book published? Or is the book done? Okay. Because this is all about publishing. This is all about school. Are you in the program at school? Are you in the master's program? Did you get your master's degree? Did you move like across the world? Did you take that trip, Taurus? Did you take that overseas trip and it totally changed your life? Did you dive into your faith? Because the ninth house is your faith. So maybe you left a religion and now you are spiritual. You are no longer religious, you are spiritual. That's all ninth house stuff for you, Taurus. And you're looking back 5 years ago. Because this is hitting almost the same degree. It's a difficult degree. This moon is a difficult 18 degree. And so the luna's up there in the sky illuminating all the things that normally we don't look at. Normally we don't want to see, or we knew it was a difficult thing. We need to make some decisions. We had to do some things. And so we wrote the book. We got into the master's program. We moved overseas. We went overseas, or we got deeper in our faith. It's all those things for you, Taurus. Gemini, eighth house. Gemini, eighth house. Okay. So yes, we're looking back 6 months ago when we were writing in our moon journal for the moon intentions. Yes, 6 months ago. Okay, fine. But also at this particular full moon, we're looking back 5 years ago, because there was that Saturn-Pluto conjunction at 22 degrees of Capricorn. And this full moon is at 18 degrees, almost conjunct. And 18 is a very difficult degree. And so this full moon is all wrapped up in the Uranus and going into your sign as well, into Gemini. So you're feeling this. It's like, and it's eighth house. Did you completely transform your life? Okay, because the eighth house is the transformation house. So it's like, I always call it the butterfly house. Like, even if you wanted to go back to being a caterpillar, you couldn't, because you are now a butterfly. It's the phoenix has gone to rock bottom, so it must rise. And it's the phoenix rising from the ashes, because the ashes were down here in the rock bottom, and now the phoenix must rise. It is that vibe for you, Gemini. You need to ask yourself, what is this full moon illuminating for you? Did you completely transform? Did you? Did you completely and that could be any area of your life. Like, you lost like 100 pounds or something, or, you are no longer dating that type of person because they were abusing you. You no longer are even attracted to somebody that would abuse you. It's that thing, like you've completely transformed. Or you went to school and you just put your nose in the books and you did it. Like it's something you've completely transformed your life. Gemini, the luna's up there in that dark sky illuminating. Did you do it? Here's the harvest, or no, did you? And so this is why it might feel very difficult for a lot of people. The eighth house also has to do with your sex life. So maybe you've completely changed your sex life. Maybe you have boundaries now with sex. You didn't have boundaries before. Maybe you didn't have a sex life. Now you have a sex life. Maybe you got into sex magic. You took some sex courses, something about sex and sexuality for you, perhaps. But it is the transformation house. It's also your chunky money. So an investment. Maybe you made a huge investment 5 years ago. Maybe you were like, I know I'm going to invest in, name it. Could have been anything. And now you've harvested something, maybe. Gemini. So let us know. Eighth house stuff for you, Gemini. Cancer, seventh house. Okay. Cancer, it's your side. This is your closest relationships. Yes, your spouse, your marriage, your best friend, your business partners, your closest people, right? Your closest people. What is La Luna illuminating? This is a very difficult feeling moon. And we've been feeling it since 5 years. So sure, 6 months ago, you might have written in your new moon journal, like, oh, these are my new moon intentions. You know, you wanted to get married, you wanted to have a life partner. Sure, maybe that was happening 6 months ago. But this has been going on for you since 5 years ago. And that Saturn-Pluto conjunction at 22 degrees Capricorn is right close to this 18-degree Capricorn full moon. And so La Luna's up there in the sky illuminating is it difficult still? Are your relationships difficult still, Cancer? Did you get the marriage counseling that you needed? You know, are your friends still like these best friends of yours? Is it still really bad? Cancer, you've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to stop blaming others and take radical responsibility for yourself, if not. But if the La Luna is always shows you what has or has not shown up, what has or has not manifested, harvested since, you know, those intentions and those decisions you made. So what has or has not shown up for you, Cancer? You've got to be honest with yourself when it comes to your closest relationships. Leo, sixth house. So Leo people, we're looking back 6 months ago when you were writing your new moon intentions. Maybe you wanted to do some things regarding your health and your daily habits. This is sixth house stuff, right? It's the things that you do every day. So yes, maybe it has to do with your health, and maybe you got on a health routine. Maybe you're much healthier, but for you Leos, this actually goes back for all of us 5 years ago, because that Saturn-Pluto conjunction at 22 degrees of Capricorn is very close to this 18-degree Capricorn. The moon doesn't like being in Capricorn in the first place, and the 18-degree mark is a very difficult degree. So Luna's up there illuminating what we don't normally see in the dark. And for you, Leo, let us know what has or has not harvested, what has or has not manifested regarding sixth house, your health, your daily habits. Okay, maybe a pet. Sixth house is also about pets, but this is such a big thing that happened in 2020, and it was like an urging from the universe for all of us to make some big changes and big decisions and change everything. So maybe Leo, for you, you are like a super healthy person now since 5 years ago, and you knew you had to make the changes, and it happened. And you've changed your daily habits. Like maybe now you get up and you do the morning meditation, and then you go for the morning walk, and then you do the stretches at midday, and then after dinner you go for a walk. And it's just like every day you're doing this, and you drink way more water than you used to, and da 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 da, and all the things, right? So for you, Leo, what is it? It's the daily habits, it's your health. And you know, you had a strong urging 5 years ago, and then this moon is illuminating how far all of us have come since that 5 year ago mark when the world shut down. Saturn and Pluto got together, and now the moon is urging all of us to take radical responsibility. No more blaming anyone, taking responsibility for being part of a co-creator of the whatever circumstance that you just can't stop telling victim stories about. If that is you and you're still telling the victim stories and you're still blaming others, it needs to stop. And you need to take radical responsibility for yourself. And for others, Leo, you've been super healthy and doing wonderful daily activities, and you know it because you feel healthier than ever. Virgos, fifth house. Fifth house. Okay, so for all of us, Virgo, we are looking at 6 months ago. Sure. What were the intentions we set in regarding, you know, our Capricorn house placement? But for all of us as well, we're looking back 5 years because Saturn and Pluto got together at 22 degrees. This full moon in Capricorn is 18 degrees Capricorn, right close to where that conjunction was, and then the world shut down. So we're all being asked to look back at this full moon 18 degrees is a difficult degree. The moon being in Capricorn feels difficult. Did we do all the difficult things? Did we make the difficult decisions? Did we have the difficult conversations when it comes for you? Fifth house, children, children, having babies, taking care of babies. And then for those of us that have older children, taking care of the difficult conversations with our older children, changing the relationships with doing what we need to do to get in better relationship with our children. All things children, okay? Also fun. Like, did you know how to have fun? And maybe at 2020, back when this conjunction hit, and it was like, oh my God, I am no longer a fun person. I don't even know how to have fun because the fifth house is all things fun and laughing. Like, do you know how to laugh anymore? Do you know how to have fun and laugh? And then it's also like extremely creative, like all of the creative projects. So sure, like painting a picture is creative, but so is writing a book, and so is writing a poem, and so is creating an online course. You know, creation comes in many different forms. So is creating a beautiful song, right? So for you, Virgo, the Luna is up there in that dark sky, illuminating all the things we cannot see. And maybe we didn't even see it 5 years ago. And so we've been feeling the urge for 5 years. And what has or has not shown up, what has or has not been manifested when it comes to all things fun, children, creativity, and the joy of life, because the fifth house is all those things. Libra, fourth house. Okay, Libra, sure, we're looking back 6 months ago to when we were writing in our moon journal and we wanted to write intentions for the full moon in Capricorn 6 months later, sure, but all of us are being urged to look back 5 years when Pluto and Saturn got together at 22 degrees of Capricorn. This full moon's at 18 degrees Capricorn. So it's illuminating all those things that we've been feeling for 5 years, and it's at a difficult degree. And it was very difficult to make these changes and to have the difficult conversations and to do the difficult things. So have you done it? This full moon is illuminating for all of us. Like 5 years ago, it hit. And now, 5 years later, what has manifested or shown up for you, Libra, regarding fourth house things, your house, home, property, your deepest emotions, your family lineage. So just because your grandfather did it and your dad did it, does that mean that you do it? Or did you heal that one? Did you recognize that grandpa did it, dad did it? Does that mean I have to do it? Or can I be the one in my family that stops it, stops the addiction, stops the abuse? Can I be the one in my family that does it? Libra, you're being asked. What has or has not shown up for you? This full moon is difficult. It's on a difficult degree. It's in the difficult sign of Capricorn. And it brought up difficult themes since 5 years ago. So what's difficult? Or did you realize that, yeah, I needed to change all those things that you just mentioned about house, home, property, family wounding, my deepest emotions? Did you realize it? And now what's being harvested for you at this full moon is like, I got this, I did it. Or is it still feeling awful? Are you blaming? Are you shaming? Blaming others? Telling your victim stories? It's got to stop. This full moon is urging you, demanding you to stop it. Scorpio rising, Scorpio people, third house. Third house, Scorpio. Okay, so yeah, sure. What were we doing 6 months ago, writing in our new moon intention 6 months ago? So that 6 months is sure. But for all of us, we're looking back 5 years because Pluto and Saturn got together at 22 degrees of Capricorn. And this full moon is at 18 degrees Capricorn. First of all, the moon hates being in Capricorn. Second of all, the 18-degree mark is very difficult. So this is showing you the difficult things since 5 years ago. So third house stuff for you, Scorpio. Did you move? Because it's your neighborhood, right? It's your neighbors. Did you have difficult conversations with your neighbors? Did you have to change neighborhoods, right? And it's also your siblings and your cousins and your friends that feel like siblings and cousins. Has that all changed since 2020? You knew it. You knew you had to make a move out of the neighborhood. You knew you had to make changes in your friendships. Transportation, maybe you got a new car, maybe you got a scooter, a bike. You completely change that, right? So La Luna's up there in the sky, in the dark, dark sky. It's illuminating all these things, all these difficult things that we've been working on. Have you been working on these things over the last 5 years, regarding neighbors, neighborhood, best friends, siblings, cousins, communication style, the way you speak, the way you talk? It's a lot of things. The third house is a lot of things, right? And so we've been feeling it since 2020 in that conjunction. And now La Luna is illuminating how far you have or have not come. And it might be a very difficult full moon for you to be like, oh my God, that's right. I do need to change the way that I speak, the way I communicate. I do need to change into a different neighborhood. This neighborhood is killing me. These friends are not serving me any longer. It's all that stuff that you need to be honest and take radical responsibility for, Scorpio. And last but not least, Sagittarius second house. So yes, we're looking back 6 months ago and we were writing our new moon intentions, sure, because the moon is full. Sure, we're looking at it. But all of us are looking back 5 years because Saturn and Pluto got together at 22 degrees Capricorn. This full moon's at 18 degrees Capricorn. First of all, the moon does not like being in Capricorn at all. Second of all, the 18-degree mark is very difficult. So the full moon is illuminating how far you've come in 5 years regarding second house things, your self-worth. How far have you come regarding your self-worth? Or are you still beating yourself up and thinking and saying all the self-deprecating things about your worthiness? Do you still feel not worthy? Or have you come a really long way regarding yourself, knowing your worth? Because when you know your worth, the money flows in. That's how money is an energy exchange, right? And it flows when you know your worth. And therefore, has your bank account completely grown since 5 years ago because you knew it? You knew that you needed to work on your worth, and you knew that you needed to work on knowing your worth so that your worth, you are worthy of receiving lots more in your bank account. This is about what you are earning into your bank account, the possessions that you have in your hand and in your bank account. How far have you come, Sagittarius? La Luna's up there. It's a difficult feeling moon. And you knew it 5 years ago, so you now know your worth and you have money in your bank now because you know your worth. Or is it the opposite for you, Sagittarius? Time to stop blaming and shaming. And it's time to take radical responsibility about your self-worth and the money that is or is not in your bank account. Okay, now I am shuffling the cards. We're going to pull a card on this rather difficult full moon. But for those of us that watch these astrology videos and watch the charts the way that I do and listen to channeled messages and work on ourselves and stop telling the victim stories, even if the terrible thing happened. We're not saying the terrible thing didn't happen. We're not at all saying that. What we're saying is we are no longer telling victim stories. We're no longer blaming and shaming anyone. We are taking radical responsibility for the co-creation of whatever event, for whatever situation, whatever relationship. We take radical responsibility for ourselves and we say no more because I am worthy of so much more than that. I now know my worth. And I am stepping into knowing my worth and attracting relationships, circumstances, and events that mirror my new worthiness because I know my worth and I will no longer accept anything but what I am worth. I do not blame anyone for anything, including myself. I don't blame myself. I take radical responsibility for myself. And I co-create the kind of life that I want. That's this energy of this new moon. Oh, sorry, this full moon at 18 degrees Capricorn because it's hitting the pretty close. 22 degree was where Saturn and Pluto joined together on January 12th, 2020. We all know what happened a few weeks after that conjunction. And us astrologers were watching. We were like, wow, Saturn and Pluto are joining together in Capricorn. What will happen? Well, weeks later, the world shut down. We know what happened. And so this full moon is very, very tightly conjunct that same degree mark. It's at 18 degrees, this Capricorn full moon, and it is illuminating how far we've come in the last 5 years. All those difficult decisions we had to make, those difficult conversations, all of the difficult people and how we should deal with them, and the jobs that we hated, and the places that we lived, and the people we were hanging around with. We all knew what we had to do. And a lot of us felt that call from that Saturn-Pluto conjunction in 2020. And now 5 years later, this full moon is illuminating in the house placement of Capricorn. I just went through the house placement. And so you're going to feel it. You're going to say, yes, that has completely changed. That house placement has completely changed since 5 years ago. And for those of us where we did make the difficult decisions and we did do all the hard things, this full moon is illuminating how far we've come. And then there are others that are going to be hurting badly at this full moon because they knew it and they didn't do it. And it's very difficult. And now, if it was difficult before, well, it's darn right unreasonable and very uncomfortable now. And so if that's you or if that's your loved ones, please, I do urge you to get help and to get your loved ones help. Now I'm pulling a card for this full moon at 18 degrees Capricorn. And here's the card. The Magician. It's the first card in the whole deck. It's the first card in the whole deck, the Magician. This is a major arcana. So whenever a major arcana comes up in any reading that you ever do in tarot, you listen. It's like the universe saying, listen up, listen up. So we happen to get the first card in the whole deck. The first card, it's the Magician, a major arcana. This is literally saying, abracadabra, the world is yours. Did you do it? Did you do the hard things? We've all been working on the hard things over the last 5 years. And I'm just saying that this full moon is illuminating how far we've come. A lot of us have done very hard things since that Pluto and Saturn conjunction at 22 degrees Capricorn. And this full moon is at 18 degrees Capricorn. It's tightly conjunct that conjunction that happened in January of 2020, and then the world changed after that conjunction. And this full moon is illuminating how far so many of us have come. We've done the hard things. We made the hard decisions. We dealt with the difficult people. We quit the jobs that were crushing our souls. We moved to new communities because the old communities were crushing our souls. We found our people because the people we were around were crushing our souls, and we knew it. And we became the magicians of our lives. And we stopped telling the victim stories. We no longer blame or shame anyone. We take radical responsibility for ourselves, and we know how powerful. We were remembering how powerful we are because we are the magicians of our life. And that's what this full moon at the difficult degree of 18 degrees of Capricorn is illuminating for so many of us. Hold on. You've got this. You can still make the tweaks if you need to, and you'll know exactly what you need to do if you haven't done it yet. And for those of you that need to reach out for help, I am urging you strongly to do so. Wishing you a blessed full moon in Capricorn. Please do leave a comment on this one because we went back 5 years on this one. Usually I look back 6 months ago and maybe I'll mention this or that conjunction or the square over here and the urging. But this one we looked back 5 years ago, and this one's hitting us on a deep soul level. Uranus went into Gemini just 3 days before this full moon, and then La Luna is illuminating how far we have or have not come since that Saturn-Pluto conjunction in 2020. So let us know in the comments how you're feeling this one, and by all means, reach out for help if you need it. Take care.